When most people in the West hear the word sitar, they naturally think of one name, Ravi Shankar. But today, I'm going to talk about another incredible sitarist who I had the great good fortune to hear play when he was at the height of his powers. His name was Nikhil Banerjee, and he was universally beloved in India. But unlike Ravi, he didn't travel internationally as much. When Ravi was a young man, he toured with his brother Uday all over Europe and got the travel bug and really wanted to make it in the West and be a big star, which he did. But Nikhil was never possessed by that type of ambition. He was a more introverted person, not on stage, but as a personality. Well, the interesting thing about Nikhil is that he was a child prodigy when he was growing up, which is very unusual for Indian classical musicians. And he studied with the greatest teacher in India, Alauddin Khan, the father of Ali Akbar Khan, the great sarod player. And so did Ravi Shankar. So Ravi and Nikhil were Alauddin Khan's most distinguished and famous students. I was very fortunate to hear him play sometime in the early 1980s. I was a very big fan of Indian music, and I had heard the great, dear percussionist Zakir Hussain, the great tabla player, perform many times over the years. And when I saw that he was going to be coming to my town and playing with a sitar player, I figured, well, any sitar player who's playing with Zakir has to be really great. So I went to the concert. Who is this Nikhil Banerjee, I'm wondering? Well, they came out on stage. He smiled. It was a very large auditorium. Maybe there were 1,500 people there. And there was a woman playing the tambura, which is the drone instrument, Indian drone instrument, with just several strings that sets up the mystical mood. Someone lit some incense on stage. And Nikhil played his first note. And with that note, he reached out and grabbed the entire audience. When Indian musicians play a raga, which is Indian classical composition, they start with a part called the Alap, where they lay out the basic ingredients of the raga, which is a sort of a scale system, but it's more than that. And they play in free time and explore every dimension of these scales. But Nikhil Banerjee did it in such a way that he had the whole audience hanging on every note. I had never heard anything like this before in my life. And then when the tabla came in, when Zakir started to play, it rose to another level. And the whole time that he was playing his alap, Zakir was sitting there, like with his eyes closed, going like this. Because it was entrancing. I mean, it wasn't like I'm waiting to come in. It was like, you're bathing in this unbelievably deep and profound exposition. And so Zakir played, and then they accelerated to the faster part of the raga, which is called the gat. And this one happened to be in 11. I actually understood what the rhythm was. And it was so exciting. It built up to many climaxes. And then with a little smile on his face, Nikhil would sort of pull back. And he knew that he was just carrying the whole audience with him. And it got more and more intense. Some of the Indian guys around me who were wearing business suits were screaming. It was like a rock concert, and the intensity that was reached by these two musicians playing into microphones, it was unbelievable. And it finally came to an end. And I looked at my watch. It was 1 hour and 15 minutes, and I didn't want it to end. I thought that Nikhil Banerjee was the greatest musician I ever heard. He combined all the refinement of a great classical musician with the adventurousness and humor of a great jazz improviser. everything done with incredible precision, and the interaction between him and Zakir was unbelievable. I felt like it was an enlightening experience that sort of let me into a whole world of Indian philosophy and mathematics and everything all combined together. There are many, many recordings of him and some films of him on YouTube where you can really sense his beautiful personality. It is somebody that I think you should really, really check out and listen to, because I think he was one of the immortals of music.